Hey, it's Chuck. Nah, man. No. Listen, they will take exactly as much as they think you will allow them. And if your attitude is, well, it's going to happen anyway, then they're going to take it all. Okay? There's a reason they have these focus groups and they circulate this stuff. They want to feel our reaction. And if they feel that complacent loser reaction, they will pound it. Boom, we got them. Yeah, no, absolutely not. No, not here at Chuck on Bucks headquarters. We will never lay down like a dog and take that crap. No, we will not. Hey, it's Chuck. Let's get it. All right, let's get this out of the way. Look, I'm sick of the story too. I'm sick of the story too. We all know what the conclusion is going to be. Let's just run through our timeline once more. Five-star wide receiver Jamie Ffrench, out of Florida, Mandarin High School, was committed to Alabama. Nick Saban retires. January, Ffrench decommits. And from that point on, he is all Buckeye, nothing but Buckeye, crystal balls, the whole nine, penciled in the class pretty much from everybody. There was really nobody else who was close in his recruitment. Then he has an interview with Chad Simmons where, just totally out of the blue, he drops a bomb that Ohio State is not in his top three. What changed? Who knows? But Mark Givler, shortly after that, of Buckeye Huddle, had an interview with Jamie Ffrench where Jamie Ffrench showed off his fantastic personality. The dude is a really magnetic guy. Really would be awesome to have him around because he'd give great interviews. But Jamie says, "Look, Buckeye Nation need not worry. Everything's cool. No, it's all good. God, settle down, guys." It kind of says basically the way Chad Simmons said it was, the way Chad said it was, tries to downplay the situation, but he can't downplay the facts that Ohio State is still not in that top three. And then he scheduled official visits. Pardon me. The official visits did not include Ohio State. 4 other ones, though. What gives? Well, he says he wants to get up to Ohio State sometime during the football season. But he's going to commit in August before the football season starts. So that doesn't line up. Then last Thursday or Friday, Steve Wiltfong of On3 tweets out from that On3 Elite series that Jamie Ffrench will be taking a visit up to Ohio State this weekend, which would have been this past weekend. That visit never took place. Now, I was on a message board and I saw a couple of the On3 writers say that was a mix-up with Wiltfong. Now, was it a mix-up? Did Jamie Ffrench actually say that? Did he have that plan and not show up? Who knows? I don't know. But he didn't come. So Letterman Rowe catches up with Jamie Ffrench and asks him about the situation with Ohio State. He told Letterman Rowe, "It's really my family. They didn't feel confident about it. Said we need to see more." What does his family need to see more of? Really just a family-oriented vibe. Coach Hartline, he's been my guy since my freshman year. He's a good dude. I just want to see more with it being so far away. That's really it. Well, you need to come up for an official visit to kind of find that out with your family. So when's that going to happen? Yeah, we're trying to figure that out now, me and Coach Hartline. We see the time range is running out of time. It has to be during the season, but I want to do it in the summer because I'm looking to commit in August. So we're really just trying to figure that out as much as possible. Okay, now, I was hesitant to even bring this story up again because, this dude's long gone. He's not going to be in the class. It's just not happening. We're trying to figure that out as much as possible. How hard is it, to schedule an official visit? I don't know what the situation is. It's fun to speculate, but he's as good as gone. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What is it that you think happened here? I mean, it's just a guess, but my guess is I think that this is a situation where you got a receiver who is a 5-star receiver and feels like he deserves a certain amount of money, attention, etc. And maybe playing next to Jeremiah Smith, who's getting all this attention, doesn't sound like the best spot to be in. That's just a guess. Again, I think the guy has a great personality, really fun dude, but sometimes these dudes get caught up in things like that. That's my guess. I could be way off, but it just doesn't seem like it just seems so strange the way it changed so drastically overnight. I don't get it. He certainly has has had a ton of interaction and time with Heartline and the family and everything else. So what really happened with Jamie Ffrench in Ohio State? I don't know. Is Jamie Ffrench going to be in this class? Absolutely not. This is so long gone. It just is puzzling. It's really puzzling. But when you add in this day and age, the money, we don't know anymore what to blame things on. It used to be kind of easier to speculate what happened with things. But when you add in the money, you just don't know. This could have just been a couple of really big offers, or he could have been insulted by not getting J.J. Smith treatment from Ohio State. I don't know, man. Tough to speculate. I'd sure love to know. I'd sure love to know what makes someone's mind change so fast, so drastically. The top two quarterbacks coming out of high school both had interviews that just got released. So Tavian St. Clair, our Ohio guy out of Bellefontaine, Ohio, and Bryce Underwood out of Michigan. And I found it pretty interesting. So we were just talking the other day about how Michigan folks were discussing losing Bryce Underwood and not being too incredibly upset about it, or pretending like they weren't too incredibly upset about it because his priorities weren't right. And he just wanted big fat NIL checks, as did his parents. And this interview is kind of hitting on the fact that they went to LSU and did not focus on NIL, and they wanted to focus on development to go to the NFL. And one of the things his dad says, they ask him about getting silly NIL offers, and he said it really only happened one time, and it was funny. It was kind of out of panic mode. And it just kind of got me thinking, who would offer Bryce Underwood out of panic mode a big silly NIL offer? What position would you need to be in where it would be panic mode? I think the most likely scenario that someone would be panicking is if it was someone who would be assumed to get him because maybe he's an in-state quarterback. I don't know. Sounds pretty damning to me for the folks that claim that they're above that. But Tavian St. Clair also had an interview. Tavian said he's trying to recruit a lot right now. Looking forward to the Elite 11 a lot. Also playing 7-on-7 this summer. He said as far as recruiting, he's trying to keep Trey McNutt home, recruit David Sanders, Jamie Ffrench, and Vernell Brown, people like that. He said, it's just people I know that I can add to the class to make this the number one class, if we're not already. I really just want the best team we can have in Columbus. So, Tavian Clair, Devin Sanchez, started with Tavian, then Devin comes in and the Sanchez parents. And what that crew have done was basically set the tone for everybody that came in after them. The Eli Lees, TJ Alfords, and Naeem Alfords. Naeem's working to just recruit the heck out of this class. And they want to be number one. And they set the tone right from the beginning. Last night, TJ Alford tweeted his picture from his official visit of him sitting in the chair reading the paper. Here's the tweet right there. And he's talking about recruiting. We've heard Eli Lee talk about it. Eli has been at Ohio State almost every weekend. He's going to be back at Ohio State the next couple of weeks. But he talks about recruiting. We've heard Naeem talk about it down in Alabama. Naeem said that we're going to land. I'm going to bring in Ziggy Grady and Malik Autry. And, this is something that I was harping on a month and a half ago. Sometimes you get a couple of big dogs in a class early and they embrace wanting to have a great class and they just go all in on it and it just spreads. And sure enough, that's what we've seen. It's just spread to each and every guy after that. And it's become the culture of this class. And because of it, nobody's a better recruiter than other players and parents. And it is just, it's going to finish as a special, special class, man. It's one of my favorites. It's just, I love it. I love this class. And we're only halfway there. We're only halfway through. We're going to add some awesome pieces here. I can't wait. I just love this class. Eli Lee has now got his 4-star and is up to the number 378 overall prospect in the 24/7 composite. He's gained weight. He's up to 230, so 6'3", 230. He's so strong, man. They got a kid at Hoban in the class of 27. And this kid, Feaster, is he pretty much, he was projected to be a 4-time state champion wrestler walking in the door. Like, that's how well respected he was. Got injured his freshman year, wasn't able to get that done his freshman year, but not even yet rated, right? And he is already getting offers like Wisconsin and Kentucky. He came out and said, you know, his 3 favorite schools are Ohio State, Georgia, and Alabama. And I think he'll probably get those offers from those schools at some point in his career. Absolute stud. He's a running back and a linebacker. He'll probably play linebacker in college, but already 6'3", 215, and just like I said, a stud wrestler. So you got that. That plays such a big part to me. Absolutely love wrestlers that turn into football players. But, you know, he's been a football player for a while. Total stud, super strong. Look at the quads on this dude already. That's a 15-year-old. That's nuts. And he's got a brother. That's his little brother with him. Also going to be a stud. We got to get these 2 guys. But what they're doing with Eli Lee and embracing Hoban is a great thing, man. It's a great thing. Hoban is the most talented high school in the state right now, and it's going to continue to be like that for a while. So, fantastic news there on that front. Henry Fenuku was a visitor this weekend that we didn't get a chance to really talk about on yesterday's episode. So Henry Fenuku is 6'3", 295, lineman out of Texas. He's the guy that was a soccer player coming up, and, you know, pretty raw prospect, but an excellent prospect. Berm got everybody excited when he came out and said, if there's anybody who leaves this weekend having committed, Henry Fenuku was his choice to do that. Well, Henry has since started to enjoy the recruiting process, apparently, because Henry has now scheduled visits to Texas Tech, Missouri, TCU, and Georgia. He already had Ole Miss before Ohio State. Said he's going to see out his process. But Ohio State, currently number 1, he's already had Ole Miss. So, you know, Texas Tech, Missouri, and TCU are not going to be any competition for the Buckeyes. He was pretty much blown away. So it looks like we're going to come down to a good old-fashioned Ohio State-Georgia battle here for Henry Fenuku. Now, that sucks, but I do feel like this guy's pretty enamored with Ohio State. We'll see. He is down in Texas. He's closer to Georgia. But, you know, I don't know, man. Tough call. Tough call, but we'll see. It would be a heck of a nice get. But we are in on quite a few linemen right now. If we don't land Fenuku, there are definitely some options since the big pivot in strategy. There are definitely some guys that like Ohio State, and we can go over a few of them right now. Why not? Let's go over a couple of them. Here's the thing, guys. I feel like I'm talking too much recruiting. Like, I want to talk football, but there's just not much going on. There will be soon. There will be some a lot of camp stuff to talk about with the actual team. All right, so here's our most likely lineman here. Fenuku, Stargell, who I think is in the class. So we know right now we've got Carter Lowe. Stargell, Fenuku, Jackson Lloyd, that's the guy out of Carmel, California. Really, really big-time lineman. A guy that has a ton of visits and is really big on Alabama as the current leader. Most people think they definitely were the leader before Ohio State got involved, but he's the guy that came out 1 week after Chip Kelly offered him when Chip was out visiting him. Then you got Javon McFadden. He's out of Maryland. He was supposed to come in this week for an official. He did not come. Micah DeBose out of Alabama. He is originally from Ohio It was thought that we had a really good shot at him early on. Now he's most likely Alabama. He will be in for his official next week. We'll see if we get any action. You got David Sanders, obviously. We don't need to talk about him. We all know where we stand with David Sanders. You got Mario Nash out of Mississippi. Mario Nash, a really good lineman. He has not yet visited. He was going to come up last week, did not end up making it up. Zaire Addison out of Florida. And Jake Cook is not yet have an offer, but he is working out this week for the coaches. And he's absolutely going to smash it. He's going to get that offer. And I should also put on there our guy from Massillon, Nolan Davenport, who's also working out for the coaches. And, he's got an opportunity to get an offer this week too. Then you got Josh Petty. Josh Petty, 5-star from Georgia. He had 7 official visits scheduled before the Buckeyes got in on him. He will be in, and we'll see what the Buckeyes can do. I do think that he is sticking in Georgia, though. But that's what we're looking at for O-lineman. And we're fighting with Alabama and Georgia for quite a few of these big dogs. Unfortunately, with Jackson Lloyd and Micah DeBose, who were 2 of my favorites, looks like Alabama's probably going to end up getting them. Good on Kalen DeBoer, man. Good on him. I didn't think he'd be able to keep up the pace like this, but he's doing pretty good. Not keeping up the normal Bama pace, but he's still getting a lot of studs. The Buckeyes sent out a press release talking about the themes of every game for the season this year, all the home games, and let's go through them. So the game against Akron, Staff Appreciation Day, and this day they are going to be celebrating the 50th anniversary of Archie's first of 2 Heisman trophies. Still the only guy that's ever done that. September 7th against Western Michigan. The game sponsor is Buckeyes Care. The game theme is Alumni Band Day. The best damn band in the land is welcoming back alumni for a night game at the Horseshoe against the Buckeyes' second straight MAC foe, Western Michigan. I don't know if we needed to put that in there. The second straight MAC foe. September 21st versus Marshall. The game theme, Scarlet and Gray game. October 5th versus Iowa. Game sponsor is Safelite. You know what? We're about to get into something after this segment. Game theme, Hall of Fame. Ohio State will wear its alternate gray uniforms. The Buckeyes wore those last season under the lights against Michigan State in Week 11. Looked fantastic. Ohio State won that game handily, 38-3. Marv was a beast. This year, the Buckeyes opened Big Ten play against MSU. The Buckeyes opened Big Ten play at MSU before hosting Iowa for their first conference home game. October 26th versus Nebraska. Game sponsor, Coca-Cola. I'm a Diet Pepsi guy. Homecoming and Scarlet the Shoe. So everybody wear your Scarlet. Last year, Ohio State had its homecoming game against Maryland and its Scarlet the Shoe game against Penn State. This time around, the Buckeyes are knocking out both in one fell swoop versus Nebraska. There's going to be a lot of hues in Ohio Stadium on that day. A lot of red hues in Ohio Stadium for Saturday on that day. How much different is the Nebraska red than ours? Where's that Nebraska helmet? Let's see. Let me grab this here. What are we thinking, guys? That is pretty doggone close, man. That is pretty doggone close. Tell you what we could do is we can look up, you can look up the color code, what do they call it? There's a couple different ones, a couple different Pantone, right? So we can look that up, and I'll get that for you. I always come with the data. So we're going to look that up, but I'm surprised that they're doing that for the Nebraska game. But I guess what you could do is totally wipe out the opposing fans. You can't see the opposing fans, the visiting fans, if you do that. So I guess that's all right. But that is surprising to me. All right, let's keep it rolling. Purdue, game sponsor, Union Home. Game theme, Military Appreciation Night. This early November showdown, the Purdue. All right, let's keep it rolling. Purdue, Game sponsor, Union Home Mortgage. Union Home Mortgage. Game theme, Military Appreciation Night. This early November showdown with Purdue will also take on a form of salute to service for the Buckeyes' military appreciation theme. It doesn't say what exactly they're doing there, though. November 23rd versus Indiana. Game sponsor, Huntington Bank. Game theme, First Responders Appreciation. First Responders Appreciation is a new Ohio State game theme, but it's an important one given how much the first responders give to the communities, including the Columbus community. Doesn't exactly say if they're doing anything for the military or first responders appreciation. All right. November 30th, the game. Game theme, Senior Day. Ohio State has lost three straight games to Michigan for the first time since 95 to 97. The Wolverines have won 3 Big Ten championships in a row and took home the national championship last year. Motivated to finally beat Michigan and win it all, a collection of starter-level and draft-eligible Ohio State players decided to return for their senior year in 2024. This senior day will be massive, both in terms of numbers of seniors walking and the gravity of the afternoon. Boy, that's no joke, man. That is no joke. The gravity. I mean, it's a good way to put it. I really didn't like reading that beginning, though. That was not too fun. So the Buckeyes kind of snuck in the logos, the Safe Flight logos at the 25s. And that was before the home Notre Dame game in 22. Doesn't seem like many people noticed. But I just don't like it. I don't like it. It's the wealthiest athletic department in the country. It's not necessary. The rules oversight panel, whatever that group is, was talking about kicking around the idea of allowing the schools to sell naming rights to the stadium, naming rights to the field, put logos on the 50 flipping yard line, and they're even discussing patches on the uniforms. And some folks are coming out saying basically, well, it's inevitable. Things are only inevitable when you take that attitude with them. They do focus groups. They try to figure out what the pulse of the public is, and then they give them exactly what they think they can take. And, I don't like this. There's some of it's not as bad as others. But when you talk about altering the Ohio State Buckeyes uniform, putting a patch across from the Big Ten, oh man, no. All right. I had to edit out that part there because I just got really, really wound up. Some of you might have liked it. It's not fit for television. I'm just really reluctant to. I guess I'm irritated that I feel like so many people are just okay with the constant grabbing of more and more and more that we see from these athletic departments. We pump so much money into them, and they have to now pony up some money, and all of a sudden we're like, oh, go ahead and patch our jerseys with Safe Flight Auto. Like, what kind of loser mentality is that, man? That's just a loser mentality to me. No, do not touch the greatest uniform in the history of college sports. Absolutely not. And if you rename Ohio Stadium, are you going to be okay with that so that they can make money? The richest athletic department in the world, like people are crying for them. Like, what? Nah, man, no. Listen, they will take exactly as much as they think you will allow them. And if your attitude is, well, it's going to happen anyway, then they're going to take it all. Okay? There's a reason they have these focus groups and they circulate this stuff. They want to feel our reaction. And if they feel that complacent, loser reaction, they will pound it. Boom, we got them. Yeah, no, absolutely not. No, not here at Juck on Bucks headquarters. We will never lay down like a dog and take that crap. No, we will not. All right, so official visit season, right? We saw the Georgia red carpet walk. Okay. Now, USC did something a little different. USC played on their Hollywood theme. They got the Hollywood Star. They actually had a movie set kind of set up.
Fourth quarter. Yeah, we're playing PlayStation.
And, they got a movies studio kind of department there at USC. And they played, they did some movie kind of thing with the players, and they had this remote camera here, robot camera. So they played it up like that. Now, I saw the set. I was able to find this. Everybody really loved the Buckeyes retro room. So I found a couple different pictures of that. And then that newspaper set that the Buckeyes had. Check this out. This is what that looked like. So kind of cool to see the behind the scenes of that. Now, I reached out to the guy who runs this department for the Buckeyes. I'm hoping to hear back from him. And I would love to get some opinions. This is the same guy who does the new Twitter releases. He's kind of the guy who runs this department. And I'm interested in having a conversation with him about this stuff because I think it's really cool what they're doing. All right, let's get to some comments here and get out of here. Ken says, I silently committed to not drinking, but here I am, still drinking. You know what? That's about the value of a silent commit. Cursed Designs. Here's a guy who comments often. Good pal here. Mark my words. JJ Smith is him. All right, listen, bud. Now, I like you. But if you start off a sentence with mark my words, the thing that follows can't be something incredibly obvious that everybody else agrees with. Like that's not the way that works. No, I'm going to need another one. You're going to need to put a mark my words again. Another one with a bold prediction at the end of mark my words. That's how that works. All right. Stupid of Georgia to risk angering Georgia high school coaches by recruiting Ohio kids this cycle. Now, this here is a misconception. Not that they can throw a baseball and hit a 5-star, but that they recruit heavily in Georgia. They don't. Here's the stats. In the class of 2024, this is the last cycle they had. The number one class, 28 total recruits, only 9 from Georgia. In 23, 26 total recruits, only 5 from Georgia. 2022, the number 3 overall class, 30 recruits, only 13 from Georgia. And in 2021, the number 3 overall class, 20 recruits, they had 10 from Georgia. So 50% in 21. Other than that, yeah, they don't, they recruit a lot out of state. And it's weird because they could field a fantastic football team just with the talent in Georgia. So, I don't really know the philosophy. I am trying to get with a Georgia guy who works for On3. I want to get him on the show. I want to talk about Georgia's recruiting philosophy because this has, when I got your comment, I immediately thought like, okay, I want to get these numbers and put this out there on the show. Because this is a misconception. Mark Richt always let the best players in Georgia, it seemed, kind of slip away. Kirby doesn't do that. He locks down most of the best. But as far as the depth, he fills it out all around the country. He does not stick with Georgia, which I've always found interesting. And I would like to know somebody who's, talked to Kirby like those guys that are really tuned in with the program. What is their overall philosophy with that? I mean, when you look at 26 guys and only 5 from Georgia, like that's mind blowing, right? Absolutely mind blowing. It's the hottest state going and has been for like 5 years with high school talent. So pretty wild. The reason why the jack position, or this is Tim Johnson, the reason why the jack position has been such a slow developing role here at Ohio State has been the stubbornness of Coach Larry Johnson and his unwillingness to change. I believe he would change his position on the jack if he would just watch some Oklahoma State games under Jim Knowles. He would have a better understanding of how beneficial that position could be for Ohio State. All right, so, for those that don't know, the talking point is that Larry Johnson is the reason there really isn't a jack position, because Larry Johnson would have to take one of his 4 defensive linemen off the field to allow for that jack position. He doesn't want to do that, and there's been some infighting between the staff over this, and Larry's stubbornness won't, allow it to happen. We even heard people like, I believe Berm has said before, or maybe it was Bill Landis or one of those guys over at the podcast, should Ryan Day step in and, Jim Knowles is the defensive coordinator and allow him to, rule the situation here. Like, we're going to do this the way I want to do it. So I don't think that this is a lack of education. I'm quite certain that Larry Johnson has seen the Oklahoma State tape and knows exactly what the defense looks like with the jack position. If this is truly the case and this is about Larry's stubbornness, which would not surprise me one bit, though, I don't know firsthand, so I can't say, but it certainly seems that way. This is all about him wanting to have his guys on the field. And also, not just that, but fighting for his guys for playing time too. You got to factor that in. It might just not all be about stubbornness, but, I recruited these guys. I recruited them because based on this, and now we're switching things up and we're pulling one of them off. They're getting less playing time. I got to go take them into that room where it's just all of us, defensive linemen, and explain to them how I just let one of their positions get pulled off the field, So it can be about more than stubbornness. We always got to remember that the relationship with that position coach is generally what's bringing most of these guys to, that's why a lot of them are choosing their school. So that coach is looking out for them too. But I do agree with you, probably a lot of stubbornness in there as well. All right, Blair Kruger. Blair Kruger says, isn't Little Ohio... Okay, Blair Kruger. Blair says, isn't Little Ohio starting on a 2-game losing streak this year? Skunk Wolves and Mizzou? Michigan is the 3-time Big Ten champ. Natty Champon, and on a 15-game. You might assume that the champs might have a seat at your esteemed 4-team table. Well, Blair, here's the deal, bud. I'm pretty tuned into college football news. I'm not some genius, but I stay in it 24/7. I've not seen a single post-spring top 25 odd at any book, any kind of guy in media, print journalism, anywhere, have Michigan any higher than 6, and that's a stretch. Any of them. So obviously you don't know what you're talking about or follow anything at all, but you just want to hop on the Ohio State guy who doesn't have them in his esteemed top 4. They're not in anybody's top 4. Anybody's. So, but then I don't know, who were you a fan of? Because you called them the Skunk Wolves. Like that. Now you're throwing me for a loop here. When I first snapped this, I thought this was a Michigan fella. But I don't know. Call them Skunk Wolves. In this Mizzou game, I guys, Anyway, that'll do it, guys. I'm sorry, not a big news day. Had a long day at work. I appreciate you joining me, and I will get back with you tomorrow. I anticipate some more news coming this week and some good stuff for us to talk about. But I did not have my creative juices flowing today because I was, knee deep in a pile of situations at work. But we will get to it this week and have some more fun, and I can't wait to join you then, or for you to join me. I don't know. We join each other because, we're friends. We're pals. I appreciate you. I'll talk to you soon. Juck 'em Bucks out.